Hey guys, I'm doing a quick tutorial on an add-on that I highly recommend for almost any class. It's called Tell Me When. It helps monitor buffs, debuffs, cooldowns, whether they're on you, on a target, or on another player. Right out of the box, Tell Me When looks like this. There's 4 boxes. I also recommend getting the add-on called OmniCC. It's independent, but Tell Me When works with OmniCC, and OmniCC just shows a cooldown counter on things. It has its own settings, but when you have OmniCC installed, the first thing to do is just turn off this finish effect to none. I'll show you what it does later if you want to turn it on. And inside Tell Me When, you'll see that there's some main options, but then it shows you your groups here. So group 1 is the default one. It allows you to toggle it for certain specs or certain either primary or secondary spec or specific trees. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just for demonstration purposes. Make it about 6 columns and give it like 3 rows. You can also adjust spacing and font and location and stuff, but I'm just going to keep it simple here. So now I've got this big grid. You can adjust the size to taste. So I'm going to make it about this big for the demo. The first and the most simple thing that it can track are cooldowns. To edit or add something, just pick the square you want to use and right click, and then it'll say group 1, icon 1. First thing you want to do is click enabled so that this actually shows up. Under icon type, we select cooldown, and here we're going to type the name of the spell that we want to monitor the cooldown for. So I'm using my Shadow Priest as the example, so I'm going to type Mind Blast. This does show all kinds of different suggestions, because if NPCs use a spell or something, it can be a big long list. But if it's shaded in a color, that's normally the one that applies to the player, so just select that. The next thing you want to do is look at show icon when. I'm going to say show it always, but when it's on cooldown, I want to have it look a little bit different. So I'm going to say when it's unusable, show it at 50%. I also want to see the timer and show timer text. These options are whether you want to check the range as it applies to your current target, and also whether you have enough power, that being mana, rage, or focus, or energy. So that's a basic setup for a cooldown monitor. So I'm going to hit OK. And to make things simple, we're going to be toggling this add-on in and out of configuration mode. So I'm going to have you make a macro. So just click macros and hit new and just call this TMW. You can pick any icon you want. I'm just going to pick the question mark. And then just type /TMW and hit save. Then you can drag that down to your bar somewhere. All that's going to do is toggle the config mode. So I'm going to toggle it off so that it's active. Select my target dummy here, and I'm going to use my Mind Blast. And simply counts down the number of seconds until I can use Mind Blast again. Sounds really simple, but it's a building block. You'll notice the difference built in. OmniCC is what is causing the numbers to be red when they get closer to 0, and that can be configured in OmniCC. So that's how you set up a basic cooldown. To give you an example of another important cooldown, you can monitor longer cooldowns like the priest ability Dispersion. I'm going to show you quickly how to copy these two, since a lot of the settings are going to be the same. If you hold down your right mouse button and drag and let it go somewhere, you can say move, copy, swap with. So we're just going to say copy here, and then right click, and all I have to do is change the name of the spell I'm going to monitor. So Dispersion is in this case. So I'm clicking that, hitting OK. Gonna untoggle it, cast my Mind Blast, and I'm gonna cast Dispersion. So you can see what it looks like, a short cooldown versus a long one. And if you want this to be less obvious, because it's a long cooldown, you can just change this transparency to like 25%, and you'll see it's even less. So that's how you monitor cooldowns. If the one other thing I want to mention about just basic cooldown monitoring is that if you don't want to see an icon until it's nearly ready to use, you use the duration checkboxes. So if you say maximum, it says the maximum duration allowed to show the icon. So in other words, how high do I want this to be? What's the highest number as it's counting down do I want it to start to show at? So I'm going to say show it at show it at 60 seconds, just for demonstration. Also, you notice that while this is counting down, it's not showing on my tell me when bar, but that's because I'm in configuration mode. So always click that. So I'm going to use the dispersion again, and you notice that it's completely disappeared, the cooldown. That's because I said I don't want to see it unless it's less than a minute left. That can be useful for abilities that you want to use regularly, but you don't want them cluttering up your screen. So you can see it started to show up after 60 seconds were left. That was the maximum duration to show. So that's the basic cooldown tutorial. The next video I'm going to talk about tracking buffs and debuffs.